welcome back to the channel. Today's question is, can I make amends with Thornbridge Brewery? Today's beer is this, it's called Cocoa Mountain from Thornbridge Brewery, and I kind of feel a bit bad. I've only reviewed one beer from Thornbridge Brewery so far, and they are kind of local to me. I mean, they're not really close by, but they're close enough, and I've only ever reviewed their flagship Jaipur, which a lot of people rave about. It's just really not my bag, so I wasn't all that nice about it. But I am told reliably by Raggy's Beer, Spirits and Wine Reviews, I believe is the full name of his title, but Raggy's Beer Reviews, if you don't know who he is, go look him up. He's another Nottingham YouTuber, another beer tuber, and I was watching his live stream last night and he recommended that this is kind of one of their seriously good beers. Now, it is a supermarket available one. I bought it a couple months ago now. It's been sat on my shelf for a bit. It's called Cocoa Mountain, and it is a chocolate porter at 6.8%. Now, this beer style is right on my street. If they don't nail this one, I'm going to feel really bad because I have to be honest about it. But, I mean, this stands a pretty damn good chance of me being pretty impressed. I don't want to read too much more into it, so before we crack in, here is a quick look at the bottle. Completely pitch black beer, as you would expect. It's a porter, not a stout, so we might get, there's the tiniest bit of red bleeding through at the bottom, but there are red lights on behind me, so I think some of those are reflections. But I think just down here, I don't know if it will pick it up on screen, but there's the tiniest bit of light bleeding through right at the bottom of the glass. But for all intents and purposes, it is pretty jet black, kind of coffee, off-white, kind of creamer coloured, one finger head that I think is going to deplete pretty rapidly. I'm not going to pour quite all of it into the glass just yet while we get some aroma notes, and then we'll top it up before we dive in. So let's see what the aromas are saying. Oh, that smells superb. Getting dark roast malts, heaps of kind of dark chocolate, cacao nib, roasted coffee. So it smells a bit like a nitroed up mocha, that kind of vibe. Yeah, creamy. I feel like this might be a lactose beer. It's definitely got that kind of creamy, white, rich coffee thing rather than just a straight up espresso kind of style. A little bit of a licorice thing going on too. You know, kind of the default rich, deep porter kind of vibes. So let's get this all in. Few thicker dregs there, so that might spice it up a bit. I mean, would you just look at that? Really does look appealing, doesn't it? Right, cheers. Oh yes. Oh yes. That is proper. Jaipur put me off Thornbridge Brewery for so many years, and I was a fool to do so, because that is an absolutely exceptional dram. I would like to apologise if the camera angle's a bit squiffy. I'm having loads of issues with my tripod at the minute. I've got a new one on order, but it's not here yet. When I set it up, everything is perfectly in shot, and as I start filming, it kind of just manages to eke its way ever so slightly out. So I feel like I'm a bit tilted that way, but sorry, it'll get fixed real soon, so you just have to bear with for the minute. But back to this beautiful thing, right? It's fantastic. It's got all of the notes that were on the nose transfer into the taste. You're not missing out. But let's do a quick kind of top to bottom. This has got to have lactose in it, because initially super silky, smooth, sweet, milky, right on the front of the tongue. And then it's straight into big, rich chocolatiness through that kind of second phase. And then it's roast malts, coffee, slap of bitterness to go with that kind of deep roasted malt. Springs off the back, more chocolate notes, a bit lighter this time. A bit of the carbonation from the beer spikes around the tongue. And that, you get a bit of the tinge of licorice, I think, then as well. Just that kind of deep molasses generic flavour. And then on the swallow, goes back, it's lactosey, creamy, I can tell by the way my saliva is reacting that this has to have lactose in it. I'm absolutely certain. And it leaves you with a nice, sweet, lingering mocha coffee and chocolate aftertaste that's just appealing to bring you some more. I'm going to smash that in no time at all, and at 6.8% this is properly dangerous. So before that happens, let's take a look at the bottle. Thornbridge since 2005, Cocoa Wonderland Chocolate Porter, 6.8%, contains lactose, bang on Thornbridge, yeah. Cocoa Wonderland strikes the perfect balance between sweet milk chocolate and roasted coffee bitterness. Totally agree. Brewed and bottled by Thornbridge Riverside Brewery, Bakewell, UK. So they're 20 miles or so from me in a straight line, so kind of local but not quite, if you know what I mean. Thornbridge.co.uk contains malted barley, wheat and lactose. Just important information that we don't need to know. 330ml bottle. Best before the 5th of the 1st, 2022. I bought this a couple of months ago. It's now May, so I reckon this has probably got a year-long shelf life based on that. Maybe 10 months if it was super fresh when I bought it. And that is all the information on here. But yeah, as they say sweet milk chocolate and roasted coffee bitterness. Absolutely, that's what I'm getting. No mention of licorice on there. Licorice, I don't know, when all these types of beer, this is actually very similar, I think, in flavour profile to Totally Brewed's Papa Jangles Voodoo Stout. It has that kind of complexity. I'm sure if you did a back to back you'd find wild differences, but it's what it's reminding me of. And yeah, it's kind of a generic molasses, dark licorice, but it's none of the tartness of licorice. It's just kind of some of those kind of deeper notes that really show themselves in this. So, has it changed at all? Sweetened up on the nose a lot. Less chocolatey. Sweet milk, coffee. Some of the booze is starting to come through on the nose a bit. I tell you what, if you walked into a coffee shop and it smelled like that, you know you'd be in for a good cuppa. So, anything on the taste? That's not really changed. That is a really solid brew. Some of the flavours have moved around a bit. Maybe the chocolate started to squash a little bit. The coffee's still very much there, maybe a bit stronger, but it's actually sweeter than it was the first time round. I think that's the chocolate blending into it. And to be honest, that is just absolutely delicious. Raggy, thank you for making a recommendation on that one in your stream last night. I'm so glad I broke this out today. This has been sat on my shelf for a bit. Yeah, I don't know, I just kept putting it off and I wasn't sure why. I shouldn't have, because that is absolutely fantastic. Right, just before I go away and finish that and enjoy it, that is all I have to say on it. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.